Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. I am here with chat, and today we're going to be having a wonderful discussion with pictures from Giant on what potentially the new upcoming GL exclusive will be. Let's go ahead and dig in. So first off, it is not going to be Tentacles Tria. No matter what you say, Tentacles are not going to be the next GL exclusive. I actually think it's possible we don't get GL exclusive news this week. I think everybody is expecting the GL exclusive news to come out this week. I think actually we're going to get Velas this week, and the GL exclusive news is going to be next week. I think what's most likely is because that's going to be the week that is going to be Easter. And of course, the most popular unit here, if I can, oh my God, if I can get Esther on screen here, is going to be Esther. Now, this is going to be Giant's wonderful hand drawing WoTV style. Is this WoTV style, Giant? What you imagine would be WoTV style? Look at that chest. Giant doing the good work with the chest right there. But this is Giant's WoTV style Esther, ready and willing to go right here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being wood bang, guys, or wood pull for, what are we thinking? Are we thinking Esther for global exclusive? I think this is the most likely. I'm sorry, this is the production value you've all wanted. This is what you've all asked for, right? Like, look at this beautiful Esther. She's so beautiful. And her sword glows golden. It's literally like her sword is going Super Saiyan. I never used Esther in Brave Exvius, but I do know that she was a very popular unit and that people loved her. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to, you know, potentially bring her into the GL market on WoTV. Now, I do think it would be good. I think she would kind of probably have to be lightning or maybe even water, potentially. I think there's a debate on what type of element she could be. I think, though, besides Esther, what's more likely is choice number 2. Now, just to ask chat real quick, did y'all see the picture when I put it up before? Do we all know what choice number 2 is? Does everybody know what choice number 2 I think is? Yeah, chat taking too long to respond, so I'm just gonna put it on the screen here. I think it's going to be our girl, our OG FFBE goddess. Now, keep in mind, this goddess was like before Eileen existed, all right? This was like before Oron had the Church of Eileen. And that's going to be our girl, Reberta. And I actually think Reberta is the most likely candidate here over Esther. So I think we're likely going to get Reberta over Esther. And there's a couple of reasons why I think that. I think Reberta is like inextricably tied to the Brave Exvius franchise. I think she is a native fire unit, which would be really good. I could see us bringing Fire Spear back to life, right? Like, we could see Roberta making an appearance and all of a sudden potentially King Elda, potentially Setia combinations working, right? King Elda just got his second mastery. We could be getting like Roberta's staff or Roberta's spear as well. And that could easily have like fire attack plus 30 on it. So for that reason, I think Reberta is going to be a much better choice in the long run over Esther for the game. I think it makes more sense in general. I know a lot of people think it's going to be one of the newer FFBE units, but I really think it's potentially going to be one of these two. There is one other unit that we've been thinking about, or that I've been thinking about and talking about, and that would be potentially Olive. Now, Olive is one of those units that has been around for a long time on the Brave Exvius side, and I think Olive could slide quite easily into the fire unit ranged meta. So I think Olive could easily pair with potentially Luartha EX. I think she could do some work with Setia, and we could potentially get like a gun with fire attack up on it for both Luartha and for Olive, right? I don't think we're going to get her cannon. Maybe it'll be a TMR like it was in Brave Exvius. Who knows? But I think out of all of these, Roberta is the most likely. I think Esther is probably like the fan choice. Like, I think if we had a community of fans here that were picking the next GL exclusive, I think it would be Esther. I think the most likely choice is Roberta, and I think the kind of the wild west of potential GL exclusives for fire element could be Olive as well. I think it's going to have to be a fire element to breathe life back into fire. It's also going to be before Astoria comes out. So usually what they do, if there is potentially like a power shift or an elemental shift, they'll try to make Astoria look better to purchase, right? Because they just released a new GL exclusive fire unit potentially. So I could see a world where they release Reberta because they know Astoria is coming, right? So Reberta could be really powerful, and then Astoria could be the counter to Reberta. I think that would be an ideal situation, very similar with Olive, right? Astoria could be the counter to Olive, and then you kind of would be in accordance with what we've been doing on GL for a long time, which is that, you know, we kind of rebalance the elements a little bit so that almost every element is viable. You're seeing right now with Terra, for example, Terra is actually being a lot more viable than we initially thought. And I think that comes with the fact that on the global side, our elements and our VCs are a lot more varied and a lot more balanced than on the JP side. So I think we are going to potentially see a fire meta, even if it's for a little bit, if we do get Roberta or Olive. Now, I see Handy Alpaca in here saying they might do a complete counter. A complete counter would be something like, you know, Esther. But I don't think they're looking at the current meta of the game. I think they're looking at what's going on in JP, and they introduce units in global to kind of counter JP meta, right? So it's really interesting that Ibarra came out around the same time that Astoria and Celeste were really dominant. And it's also simultaneously really interesting that Ibarra was also a counter to Celeste, even if we didn't really put that together on the GL side yet. So I think it'll be, you know, maybe we'll see, you know, potentially a dual element, like Esther could be dual element, Roberta could be multiple element, very similar to Sakura, right? Because that would kind of stay in the Brave Exvius trend of units with dual elements. But I think whatever they're going to be doing is probably to counter whatever meta is going on in JP right now. And I think with Terra having really that 100% hit attack and being really powerful right now to counter light, if we got Roberta in here with the lack of pierce resistance that a lot of people have and a lot of units have, I think we could see things going south very quickly for either light meta or a huge shift towards fire meta, at least until Astoria comes out, right? Because Celeste is going to be 100% less viable because Magic's not going to be run. Magic would not be the meta. Magic still arguably isn't the meta right now. You know, you go into guild battle and you still see walls of light teams currently. So I think when Astoria comes and Celeste comes, it's going to have to be probably to counter Reberta. Don't tell me you're Gutsy. Don't tell me you're countering Magic with Mont. Nobody's running MR Mont in their guild battle composition. You know, fast forward to the Mysidia video where Mysidia quotes this and then shows everybody that he's running MR Mont in his guild battle composition. Mysidia, I see you out there. I know what you do. And I 100% approve of it. And I love it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. Giant kind of thought we would get a water global exclusive when we were talking about it earlier, because we were looking. Giant actually looked through like all the FFBE LBs earlier. We talked a little bit about Reagan because Reagan, you know, his information has already been data mined on the JP side. So maybe it's going to be like fire element Reagan, but Reagan I feel like really has to be dual element. So it's just. Oh, dude, if it was Nicole was my boy. Like, Nicole, if there was a Brave Exvius unit that, like, got me to my core, that carried me through the game, it was Nicole. Specifically, CG Nicole. CG Nicole carried my ass so far as my main buffing unit. I would cry tears of joy if it was Nicole. I would absolutely cry tears of joy. I don't think they would ever bring it because one, he's a male unit and they don't want male units in this game. And two, if they brought him, he would have to be a mage, and I feel like we don't need a water mage. I feel like we already have Summer Elsorel, who's super powerful. Like, I feel like we would need, like, I guess maybe a water mage would work, like a support mage. But I mean, we have Aerith. Like, okay, just give me Nicole and make it another Summer Elsorel, and then we're just gonna run double Summer Elsorel basically, with like Celeste or something. That would work. Oh, all right. Well, I mainly wanted to show all of you guys this art and have a discussion about the next GL exclusive unit because there's a lot of hype for it. People keep asking me what the next GL exclusive unit's going to be. People were excited last week. They thought the GL exclusive unit was going to be announced, even though we already knew Chaos Odin was coming out. I don't think it's going to be announced this week. I literally think we are going to find out in 2 weeks, and it'll probably be Easter weekend, and it'll probably the week of Easter, and they'll probably announce Esther. And yeah, shout out to Giant for busting his ass on this art. Holy cow. Roberta looks amazing. Esther looks amazing. I like Roberta a little bit more, just because I like me some Dragon Girls, but they both look incredible. So shout out Giant for this incredible work. And you know, Giant's production value 10 times better than my production value. It's almost like we got like Giant's putting a nice ganache on the cake, and then I made the cake and it's like super salty, right? But thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you all next time.